can't sleep when I do. Let's not sleep together. You can't sleep when I do. Let's not sleep together.
Greetings and salutations. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Gamersledge Podcast. My name is Mark. I'm one of your hosts. And joining me from the bomb cyclone in the great Midwest North, it's Matt.
Howdy.
And this is episode 308, Season 4, Elder Scrolls Blades, Baba Lion King Non Sequiturs.
Not sequoias.
Because, not sequoias, no. Non sequiturs, because there's lots to talk about. We did not do a podcast last week, so we will do one this week covering the last 2 weeks. And we will start, as we always do, by going around the room, which is two of us, and talking about what we've been playing. So, Matt, what have you been up to?
I even though we've been like doing one of these every 2 to 3 weeks, the list never changes. Still working on Kingdom Hearts, final mix. Getting close to the end. I'm something like 42 hours in. Right now, I'm remembering how this game ends correctly. I'm story-wise about to enter the end of the game, but I need some grinding before I can get there, and there's a few tasks I can do along the way to do that. So got that. As far as playing, that's really, aside from the Path of Exiles we've been doing on Mondays, that's really about it. I had downloaded a bunch of Marvel games onto my phone because I got a bunch of ads for them. I was like, oh, I'll try them again, like Marvel Puzzle Quest and Battle Lines and Champions and stuff. And I just tried them again. I'm like, yep, okay, I remember why I don't like mobile gaming. And then I deleted them all. Nothing wrong with Marvel Puzzle Quest. It's fine. It's just, when within the first couple of missions, I filled all my character slots.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, yep, no, never mind. I'll just go back to playing Puzzle Quest on my PS3. So that's it. We haven't been playing Rock Band because there isn't a current season going. And let's see, as far as like TV and stuff, we finished out the season of The Good Doctor. Pretty good season 2. Threw a little twist at you at the end there. I finished season 3 of The Magicians last night.
Oh, did you now?
Yeah, I did.
And?
Yeah.
It's not the direction that it seemed like it was headed in my
No,
opinion.
it's not. But it works. They threw a nice little thing at you there, and I'm still trying to mull through Fogg's thought processes there that apparently have been going on all along and we never knew about.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm assuming that's something that'll be addressed in season 4, but. It's a consistently good show. It's kind of surprising. It's like it shouldn't be, but it is.
It's again one of those shows that if you told me was a sci-fi show, I would not believe you.
Right. And season 3, I kind of feel like season 1 and 2 we're kind of part 1 and part 2, and maybe I don't know if those were more strongly based on the books or if we're still in the books. I think there's only 3 books. But season 3 definitely stepped up and went not another direction. It's not completely thematically different, but it was better.
I really like this season. I really like, because one of the problems with ensemble casts is that a lot of times you have a Josh who gets neglected,
Mm-hmm.
and they very smartly play against those tropes and figure out ways to actually include everyone into everyone is actually. I have to ask, because you didn't tell me you finished this, so we haven't had any of this discussion before now. How are you with the with the Penny switch.
That was interesting, and I'm hoping it comes to play more in season 4.
I'm actually kind of okay with this because
I am.
actual Penny is kind of a non-likable character that had nowhere to grow.
Right. They kind of drew him into a corner. I'm assuming we'll have a mirror match. Penny 23 versus Penny. What was it? 30.
Yeah. I don't
Whatever.
know, but it's interesting to me. It's very interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think I know where it's going, but this show I've been only about 50-50 on where I think it's going and where it actually goes.
It has definitely like surpassed all my. This is one. Lexi gets very annoyed with me because I will sit there and we'll be like 2 episodes into a series, and I will tell her how at the end of season 1 is going to occur, and she gets very upset with me because 90% of the time I'm right. And I got nothing for this show. Every time I think they're going to take a zig, they take a zag. And they just... I mean, it's not like they're doing something completely new, because it's a little bit of borrowed stuff from a bunch of different things. Mm-hmm. But it's told in a unique way, and I really love this show. So I'm really... at first, when I started trying to get people in my in the office to watch it, I said it was adult Harry Potter. Basically, that the main character has neuroses and it has to visit a mental institution because it's showing that people are more fleshed out than
right.
Be a wizard, Harry, and save the world.
They're not 2-dimensional, but they don't fall into grimdark ever. So. The edge of maybe just hedging on it, but I mean they don't wallow in it, I guess is the right word.
Have you seen Alice? Like her entire character.
That's one character though. I mean, like,
yeah,
but the whole thing isn't seeped in it. There's elements of it, but it's not. It's dark without being worshipping its dark.
I agree with that, but season 3 got pretty doggone dark.
It did, but at the same time, it was never. It's not Justice League, right?
It's not.
It hits the dark points, but it never feels unsurmountable. Is that the right way to say it? Insurmountable is the right word, not unsurmountable. But it's the right amount of dark. Other shows have tried to do things like this, like say Stargate Universe, and they tried to go dark and they failed tragically at doing it. Other shows, Battlestar Galactica after season 2 just lost itself in its darkness and trying to be dour and dark and horrible up until the back half of season 5, which actually got good again. So this one doesn't lose itself in its darkness. It's there and it's relevant, but it's not the focal point.
Which is great. I mean, I thought that they told some very moving stories in this.
Yeah, that time travel one, that will rank among the highest of TV episodes for a while, I think. That was
Lexi. Matt said that he really liked the season 3 episode of Magicians.
What was his favorite character?
The time travel episode, the one where.
Who's his favorite character?
Who's your favorite character?
Who is my favorite character? I'm going to be incredibly boring on this one because it's Quentin.
He says Quentin's his favorite.
I disagree.
Did you hear her?
I know, but it was derogatory, whatever it was.
She keeps threatening she's going to be on the podcast to talk about this stuff. She just looked at me and said, I disagree.
Well, that's the thing, though. I mean, it is a cast of varied and great characters. I mean, there's something to appreciate about all of them. I don't hate any of the characters, right?
I'm like borderline Alice. I mean,
Well,
seriously,
this
she
season, she was
no
annoying.
even last season she was there, and she's just gotten
Alice
further and
serves a
further.
purpose.
I'm being yelled at for my criticism of Alice.
She serves a purpose.
So
well, if anything,
you said Penny or who?
Margot.
Margot. She loves Margot, which Margot is not like She hated Margot in the beginning.
at the beginning, yeah, Margot's definitely come around.
She has definitely had a very fleshed out character arc, along with Elliot.
Not Penny, but no, not Penny, but
You mean Elliot?
Elliot.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, she means Elliot. Not Penny.
I don't know. I'm back and forth on Elliot. You know,
That first couples, like the first season, I really liked him. The second season, he got a little out of that for me, but now he's right back in the pocket for me. He's
most of this season, I would say he was, for most of season 3, because we're actually, if you're watching it live, you're watching season 4. Was good. I really didn't like his decision at the end. Not the end, but in the castle. That to me was almost out of character for him.
I get why you say that, and I agree to a point, but I also I think his arc up until that point, that if you go back and look at it, I think it almost makes sense because he's just tired. He wants to stop this.
Yeah.
And that's the only way I can justify it.
I mean,
I don't disagree with you.
Right. I mean, even they basically point blank tell you in that episode what the quest has supposedly taught them, and he's fighting against it.
Yeah.
And you know, at the one hand, okay, yeah, that's within character, and the other hand, it was off. It just seemed a little off.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, tired, desperate people do tired and desperate things. So
that is absolutely correct.
So watch that. I started Hannah on Amazon, which is the TV serial version of the movie of the same name, which I always wanted to see but never did.
I don't think I know this.
It was a movie a bit back. The premise is this guy has raised this girl in the woods in Poland or some Central European place.
Yeah.
And he's taught her to be, a badass. And
yes, I do remember this movie trailer. I did not go see it.
Yeah. The episode 1, it's very set up. Some good setup stuff, but it didn't thrill me. But it's enough that I'll keep watching it. It's only 8 episodes long, so that's fair enough. I watched Netflix the Netflix anime Ultraman sequel. There we go. So that was Ultraman's one of those things that's always seemed like I should have gotten into at some point and just never have. It's people in rubber suits fighting other people in rubber suits, well, the original series at least. So this acts as actually a direct sequel to the original Ultraman series. So all the other Ultraman series that have happened throughout the course of time, at least at this point, appear to have never happened. So we ended with the end of the original Ultraman series, skipped 20 years, this. So yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it. The animation style is that kind where when nobody's moving, everything looks 2D, but the minute everyone moves, all of a sudden it's 3D. A little less jarring than like the Godzilla anime that they did. That was super jarring when they just be talking and everything looked 2D, and then something would move and it would just be like this massive shift and would look weird. But this one was much more subtle about it, but the similar style. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I liked it. I thought it was good. They left it open, obviously, for a second season. And if they do go into a second season, I hope it still jumps into the action a little bit more quickly. It's not that they didn't have action, but there was a lot more talking than there was action. And it got a bit stale at times with that. Of course, I'm also watching it late at night after having run on the elliptical, so that might have something to do with it too. Yeah, I'm just trying to think. I'm half watching the more recent episodes of Fairy Tale as Keegan's been watching it, but I'm not really up exactly what's going on. I just kind of half watch. That Natsu is his favorite anime character. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. I read through the latest trade of Paper Girls and the first trade of Southern Bastards, which is a Jason Aaron book. I'm loving Paper Girls. I think this next trade is the last one, which kind of bums me out because it's awesome. It's a Vaughn book.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really, really well done. And just like pretty much everything about it. The Southern Bastards, I'll have to wait until I find Volume 2 on sale somewhere because I liked it, but I don't like it enough to pay full price.
I'm leaving because I need a prop, not because I'm not listening.
Okay. And then I guess I'll stall for a second because you wandered off to go do something. But
I'm back.
You're back.
I just needed to grab a prop for my
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Just been kind of slow on the gaming front, trying to get through that sinking Kingdom Hearts, and then it's just like, I've got 45 minutes. I don't want to play Kingdom Hearts for 45 minutes, so then I watch something on TV instead.
See, how do I put this? And I'm not being derogatory when I say it. Your experience with this has reminded me why I've not dropped the $99 for the whole thing. Just because it sounds like I have this problem where, especially with games that I have played before, where it becomes like a chore and I don't want, it's like work to go back and do it. And you're like, but it is, but it isn't. And I get it, but I feel the anxiety that I would feel when I hear you tell me about it. About how you got 45 minutes and it's like, I don't want to play Kingdom Hearts. And that's me. So I'm glad that I am living this extemporaneously through you and I don't actually have to spend the $99 to go do it.
Yeah, I mean, did you play Birth by Sleep? Oh no, wait a minute. You've only played the first one, haven't you?
I know. I played the first and second one.
You played 1 and 2. Okay.
I have not played any of the extraneous games, which is one of the reasons I was looking forward to this compilation to, if nothing else, watch the cutscenes for the ones that provide it and maybe play the other ones, but that seems like it's also kind of a chore. It's like, at this point, it's kind of like playing Metal Gear if you never played any of them, right? Which isn't true. I played Metal Gear Solid 2 back in the day, and I played Metal Gear Solid 4. But that's kind of like coming into this, right? It's like Birth by Sleep is such a different thing, and then Cross 352 or whatever is a different thing, and you got all this complicated lore that's all stretched out. It's like, I kind of think I've missed the boat, and I'm okay with that. I will, when it goes down to $20 for the collection, I'll be right there to buy it and still never play it. But the point
I think you could. I would say then that's the great thing about the collection is if you don't want to play all the things, or you don't want to watch, or if you just want to watch the ones that are movies, you can just watch the ones that are movies, or you can just play Birth by Sleep, because Birth by Sleep, and I don't know if they did this to streamline the limitations of the PSP, or if they just finally figured it out. Birth by Sleep's after 2. But the way they streamlined the battle system is just so nice in there. It kind of saddens me to hear that Dream Drop Distance and 3 take elements of it, but they don't keep the core of it, because it is. I would like to see Crisis Core redone in Birth by Sleep's combat engine.
I keep wondering why they don't do something more with. They built that whole engine Why not
Yeah.
do something else with it?
But yeah, if you do someday pick it up for $20, I would say don't even worry about the rest of it. You've already played 1 and 2. You know enough of you need to know. Play Birth by Sleep. That's the only other core one, if you will. That's really Kingdom Hearts 0.
Okay, so here's my question: are you to 3 yet? You're not.
No.
Okay, all right. Because I'm sorry, I'm gonna be pissed if there are no Final Fantasy characters in 3, and I don't think there are.
I don't know. I know there are in 1 and 2.
Yes,
I'm
but even
still
in
working
2,
on 1. But.
even in 2, their presence is greatly diminished.
Yeah, as they built up the roster of their own characters, it dropped off significantly.
Yep, and that makes me very sad because that
But
was the whole reason to start playing it for me.
Yeah, I would have to imagine they've got to be there in some way because one of the core worlds is their home world. Because apparently all Final Fantasy characters live in one Kingdom Hearts world, but whatever.
Okay, well, all right. If that's the case, maybe there's hope yet. We'll see.
But yeah, so yeah, I think I've rambled on enough now. So yeah.
Okay, so here's the deal. My wife is very good to me, and she loves me, and
Well, that's good.
She knows how to read manga, and I have not bought any manga for a while, so she got me 6 manga, and I do want to talk about one of them, and I will say that this is a MA series. It is like mature only, not for kids, but I'd heard some controversy about the anime adaptation for it. That's basically how I found out about it from one of my friends. And I saw the actual manga for it, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to pick this up because I'd heard about it and it looked good. And I wasn't picking it up for the MA portion of it. It's actually right up my alley in terms of storyline. It's about basically a world where D&D is the norm. Where you, when you come of age, you apprentice, you pass a test, and you become an adventurer. And there are levels of adventurer from lavender, which is you suck, you're a noob, all the way up to silver is the highest that are out in the fields, and anything above that is would be like the equivalent of Patton or Washington or somebody like someone that would be world renowned, famous, but also master strategist, tactician. They're used behind the scenes to run the world, whereas silvers are like at they're like the supermen that are out in the field still and haven't taken that next step. So
it kind of sounds like One Punch Man setup.
So there are super similarities here, but they do the inverse thing, and that's what it's called. Goblin Slayer, if you have not heard of it, and basically the main character is not Goblin Slayer. It's this girl here in the. I know it's phasing out of existence. There we go.
Put it in front of your face. That seems like
Yeah, up here in the top right. She's kind of the main character. And she is a lavender character who joins with other lavender characters, and they take on a warren den of goblins, and it does not go well. And that's where the MA rating comes in, because it does not go well for anybody, pretty much. And that's when you're introduced to this character of Goblin Slayer, who all he does is kill goblins. And I actually super want to make a D&D character, because this guy's laser focus is so ridiculous. It's like the opposite of One Punch Man. It's like if One Punch Man decided that he was only going to learn to combat ooze aliens and was completely uninterested in anything else that didn't have to do with ooze aliens, That is this story, and it's amazing. It is amazing, and it's my frustration is that they have made an anime now, and it covers probably 2/3 of the book series, I want to say, and it's really good. So I guess the best thing I could say is, if you like manga and you want to pick up the manga, great. Also, I feel that it's gotten a bad rap for the MA thing, because really all that stuff only happens to set the tone of the world, and after that it's just gory violent. So if you get past the first episode is I don't want to say the worst, because that's not, but I mean it is the most egregious.
Intense.
Yeah, it is the most egregious and intense in all of those aspects. And then from there, it only turns to just gory. Because they are graphic in how good this guy is at killing goblins. But
So is he a silver then, or?
he is a silver. And no one can believe it, because his armor in this, you look at it and go, oh, that looks pretty badass. But when you see the other people's armor, he's basically wearing like 40-year-old armor, and no one can believe he's a silver. So it's
a lot of goblins, assuming goblins are not, exactly a high tier enemy.
Well, see, that's the thing, right? That this actually all plays into the overarching story of what's going on in the world, and there are more and more goblins. And so suddenly this guy who's considered a kook by most people is finding his place in the world. I guess that's really what the story is taking this super antisocial, laser-focused guy who's spent the last, 15 years of his life doing one thing and one thing only, and doing it to the best of his ability and surviving and doing this, and then kind of thrusting him into a larger social circle, a more integrated world. It's actually kind of super interesting. It's been a nice surprise as to how good it is, but again, if you're more visual and don't want to, I have to say that the English manga lately is super confusing for me to figure out the direction to read.
Because some of them are forward, some of them are
forward,
Japanese forwards.
And it doesn't tell you. So sometimes I end up reading the page 2 or 3 times just to figure that out, and I'm happier watching the anime. So
yeah.
I'm glad I have these, and I read them. She was so mad at me. I burned through all of them in a night. And I'm glad I have them, but I would probably say watch the anime, because you're going to get just as much enjoyment out of it. And it's literally pretty much beat for beat the exact story that you get in the manga. I picked up a couple other ones.
Would you one before you jump on? Would you still consider it a shonen? Not Shonen Jump, obviously, but a shonen genre. Has a lot of shonen trappings, but
I would say yes, it is. Yeah, in short, yes. It most definitely is. It's aimed at, I would say, guys.
right.
It's I would say it's aimed at
Maybe older than your typical shonen, but
yeah, but at the same time, what I like about most of the characters is that they are introduced maybe as 1 to 2 dimensional, but then throughout the course of the events, you tend to really flesh them out
Right.
a lot more than I think we would even see, unless you're talking about a long-running shonen like Naruto or Dragon Ball Z, which to be honest, most don't get that kind of run.
Right.
There's a lot of character work in the 4 volumes that I have, and I would recommend. Yes, to answer your question, yes, it's definitely shonen, but I think it could have an appeal to anyone who likes D&D, because that's really what you're taking this like very specific character type, and then we hear examples of laser clerics in D&D, or single-minded lawful good paladins. This is not that, but it is taking that same kind of concept and applying it very, very very, very seriously and then kind of exposing the world to it and showing how ridiculous it is and how you can't live your life that way and have to kind of broaden things up.
Right.
Oh yeah. So Master of Loving, what's up, man? Thanks for watching. Great question. No is the answer. No, I do not. So I also picked up Black and Clover, and I also picked up the only one that I think I picked up that is not an anime, accidentally, but I'm actually happy about it. It's called Delicious Dungeon, and it is about it's about a group of adventurers that are in a dungeon and run out of food, and they're like, what if we cook the monsters we kill? And so, yeah. So yeah. It's a foodie dungeon crawl. And I'm sorry, that's hilarious and up my alley.
Oh boy. There's something for everybody out there.
Yeah, pretty much.
So Black Clover was the other one you said you picked up?
Yeah, Black Clover, which I found out is an anime. They've already made it into an anime. And
I'm familiar that the anime exists, but I haven't watched it. I know a couple of the characters. That is a Shonen Jump, because I'm pretty sure a couple of the characters from Black Clover are in Jump Force.
They are, yes.
Which is frustrating for someone like me to not have them identify who the what the characters are from, because the big ones. Yeah, I recognize Dragon Ball. I recognize Yu Yu Hakusho. I recognize Naruto. I mean, I know the characters, but I at least recognize that they're from Naruto. But some of those other ones are, I guess, the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure guy, just because that was the right design style. But I've
Sure.
It's just a simple little thing. Say what they're from, and when you're selecting the character, or just a little symbol even. But yeah.
But yeah,
See, Mitchell bought the character pack, so once those start dropping, we'll be able to speak to those as well.
So one of the things that I ended up picking up and have been playing recently, which I did want to talk a little bit about and actually show it on the screen once I figure out how to do that. And I think I just need to hit that button and go there and say share.
What if I push all of the buttons?
Yes, all of the buttons. There we go. So, yep, there we go. You'll be able to see it on the screen, Matt. Sorry, there won't be sound.
Ooh.
But yeah, so one of the things that launched this week for everyone was Elder Scrolls Blades. And so this has been... It went into early access, I think a week or two ago, and then it kind of came out for everybody this week. And I had played a little bit of it last week and wanted to take a look at it. It is always played in... I mean, you can play it horizontally, but you don't want to do that on your phone. But basically, it's pretty. I mean, you've got various, you can do the dungeon delves and whatever, and it's not bad. You can look around, you can look left, right, and then you tap where you want to walk, and it takes you there, and you can build things in the town, or you can go into quests, and you can say, okay, I got to rebuild the town hall, and I'll get that, so let's do that. Rebuild the town hall. Yeah, I don't know how to... Oh, right. It's not here. It's over here. It's one of these demolished things. Yep, there it is. Oh, can I not build one of those there? No town hall. What? But yeah, combat is one of those ones where you're clicking and holding down, and then you let go when the ring fills. It's not great. It's not horrible. It's I think the thing that is probably one of the most frustrating things is it's another one of those games where you pay real world money to not play the game. So you find a chest, right? Well, you think, oh, I found a chest. I can open it. No, you got to wait for like 3 hours for it to open. Or you can pay to speed it up.
$3.99. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, you just lost me.
Yeah. I mean, you don't have to do it, but you can only have one chest at a time, and you generally find one chest or so for every dungeon that you go do. So it's the graphics are pretty. I'll give it that. I mean, music's okay. It's nothing to write home about. It's standard. I would say Elder Scrolls fare. Yeah.
How is it battery wise?
I don't think I've played with it not hooked up at the time, simply because I figured it would consume a lot of battery. So I can't answer that for you.
Okay. It looks like it would be a battery hog. But. Yeah,
probably. I don't disagree. Actually, now I don't know how to leave town. A request from someone? Can you tell me what happened here? Yeah. Anyways, Elder Scrolls that came out, so I thought I would showcase that.
So it's a fuller fledged RPG, but it's still mobile-y.
Yes, it's still mobile-y, and a lot of people think it is the kind of the first glimpse at the future of what that's going to look like for AAA games in the future. And then I'm still playing the heck out of the Muscle Hustle. This is such a dumb game, but I'm absolutely loving it. It is, they have special events going on all the time. You get 4 tickets a day to go into those special events and win stuff for people. So, like, I can go through this particular event and I can see, I don't have any people that can wear any of this gear. But that guy could wear one of those, so maybe I'll do this one to try and get at the chance for it to drop, right? And it's kind of dumb and fun, and I really enjoy it. It's just marbles. That's all it is, marbles. But
Beyblade.
Yeah, it's Beyblade. Yeah, same kind of thing, except with a wrestler skin instead of a gold. So yeah, been doing that as well, and that's pretty much it on mobile.
Lord, you have 2,000 apps in one folder? Holy cow!
We don't talk about that. And then what else? We have been playing Division 2. Division 2 is still good and still fun, except for the part where I just haven't been playing it the last couple days because I've been sucked into Path of Exile, and which Path of Exile is Diablo 2 meets Final Fantasy X Sphere Grid meets Final Fantasy VII's materia system for armors and weapons. And it's super easy to grasp the initial concepts of it, but it's super deep, and it's got 6 years of expansions and updates to layer in on top of that, and all kinds of systems and currencies, and it's crazy. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
I saw another patch drop today. Do you know if that was content or fix or?
Fixes for the most part. Yeah, fixes for the most part. And some new cosmetic items to buy. Because that's the only way they make their money is by putting cosmetics up. And they have cosmetics for everything. You want stylized footprints that track behind your character? They got that. You want wings that drip blood? They got that. You want apparitions that appear from time to time when you're idle? They got that too.
No kidding. I thought you were doing an attack or something, and then it just appeared in the middle of nowhere. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I got that one when I bought my initial bundle from them, and then I bought the rest of my gear set. I take it back. It's not just cosmetics. They also sell gear stash tabs, because this is a game that you want to basically hoard every rare that you find, because it will be useful later. What's up, Ryan Romo? But they do sell those tabs, and that's what I basically went on. I also watched the New Japan Ring
G1?
of Honor G1 Supercard. It was good. The Ring of Honor stuff was okay, but not up to the Ring of Honor par that I am used to. And I think that really brought the show down a little bit. There weren't bad matches. I'm not saying there were bad matches, except maybe the women's match was not the best. There were some sloppy parts in it, but it was a clash, right? Because I've been so used to watching NJPW that really doesn't do storylines. I mean, they're like super storyline light. Like, this guy doesn't like this guy because of his philosophical differences, and they're going to settle it in the ring. You know, so it's like I struggle to try and explain this to people, but it's almost like boxing. Like, you know how in boxing nowadays they have the build up and the press conferences, and the press conferences are really the only storytelling that happens, right? That's what NJPW is. That's them to a T. So there are no skits or storylines or stuff like that. And so to have that kind of show, and then suddenly you interject storyline into it, it doesn't leave anyone happy. Because the ROH people, which there were not really anybody there for ROH, everybody came to see the NJPW people, and the NJPW stars don't have storylines, and so when that stuff was injected in, it kind of derailed the NJPW stuff. Not really, because they were great matches, but it just made the flow really weird. And then there was WrestleMania, and WrestleMania was good. It was okay. It was Seth Rollins winning was a surprise, and just about nothing else on the card was. And it was 7.5 hours, and it was
7.5 hours.
Hey, G1 Supercard was 5.5 hours, man.
Yeah, but okay, it's been a long time since I watched a WrestleMania, but I don't remember them being that long.
It's 7.5 hours, and you know, I again am. I'm going to try and not make this a fully wrestling podcast, but I am going to reiterate the same issues that I've had with WWE, which is why I no longer actively watch them, is that Vince needs to go, and they need to actually bring in a long-term booking team. A bunch of this crap was thrown together at the last minute, and it makes it not feel like the WrestleManias of old. The WrestleManias of old, you were constantly building throughout the year towards something. And that is not the case. I mean, even the Becky, Charlotte, Ronda thing was just in the last, 3 months, for all intents and purposes. There's no clear path for the storytelling, and it's frustrating. Why bring Kevin Owens back just before WrestleMania? He's not even in WrestleMania. He could have come back after WrestleMania and had a larger impact. It's just weird things. And if you watch NJPW, they book 2 years in advance. There's always a greater story being told. Yes, there's no skits, but there's still a story being told about the clashes in the ring and the team ups and who wins and who loses, and the wins and losses matter. And they kind of do that. It's a different way, but yeah, I don't know. I'm not saying that WWE performers are bad. They're athletic as hell, and they're great. I think it's probably the best crop of wrestlers that have been in WWE ever. But Kofi shouldn't have had to have waited 11 years to get the title. He's been an excellent performer for 20 years. And the fact that he's only getting it now out of basically chance, luck, and a fluke of somebody being injured is kind of depressing. And it just highlights that WWE to me is better at tearing down people than it is building stars. And I think there's a lot of people who are comfortable in the company because they're making fat paychecks, and that's great, but it removes fire from some people. And I think that they have a really bloated roster right now. I'm not saying of bad performers or anything of that. I'm just saying they're trying to hoard everyone right now get them under contract so that they can't go wrestle somewhere else. And in doing so, that doesn't let anyone shine. You just have this, and they're still trying to bring people up from NXT. It's just going to be real hard for them to.
It's the same thing you were talking about ensemble casts. You've just got too much to manage.
And the difference is in this particular case, those ensemble players never get their time, and that's really frustrating.
The Batista match was at WrestleMania, right?
Yes.
Was that at least good? Did he go out on a good note, or?
Good isn't it was a good match, but I wouldn't say that it was it was two guys beating the hell out of each other for the enjoyment of the fans, right? It's not like it was some, super great wrestling match. No, they beat the hell out of each other's Triple H ripped Batista's nose ring out with a pair of pliers. It's two guys beating each other up. As soon as they said that Triple H's career was on the line, we knew he was going to win because,
I can't believe he's still wrestling. He's been wrestling forever.
He wrestles. He doesn't do it often, but he'll come out, I think, every WrestleMania pretty much. And he'll do some NXT, sometimes he'll show up here and there. Saudi Arabia, where he gets paid the big money, he'll go do, and then tear his pack. But I digress. But yeah, it's a case where Batista's 50. He's not going to wrestle anymore. This was the end of it. This was his official retirement. He said directly after the match, I end my career in sports entertainment on a high note. It was a good match, but it wasn't like one that they're going to remember forever. It was just a knockdown, drag out brawl is what it was.
And again, there wasn't a build up, it's.
Now the messed up part is that his build up was probably 90 times better than the build up of any other match that they built for at WrestleMania, because they did some different things in the writing and the directing of his portions of it. Like when he beat up, he beat up Ric Flair, he drug him around the building, etc. And then he basically looked into the camera and said, give me what I want. And it's I just think that they're so big, and they they have a unifying voice, but still it's reactionary, right? That's probably the best thing I can say, is that it seems like all the decisions are reactionary to what the fans respond to, and it's reactionary to circumstance. And NJPW is showing me that if you go with a plan in mind, it doesn't mean you can't deviate the plan, because that's exactly what happened when Kenny Omega left, right? They put the belt on Jay, and he really stepped up to the plate, and he is so much better of a performer now than he was when he came back from exhibition. He was still really good when he came back from his excursion, but I think putting the title on him was the right thing to do, and that was a change in plans, and now it looks like they're back to the plan that they had in mind initially, because they just figured out a way to write around Kenny's departure and then have Jay be put in this story instead, and etc. So I think they don't have that long-term vision for the booking team, and they need to build some kind of roadmap out. So we'll see if any of that changes. Did you all watch the Joker trailer?
I think we're at time for wrestling.
Yeah, we are. Did you watch the Joker trailer and the Lion King one? Well, let's talk about the Lion King one. We got it here. Let's watch it and talk about it a little bit. I'm going to turn the sound down just a little bit. And then the Lion King.
That's not the right one.
Oh, is not?
That's not the new one, no.
2 hours
4 months
ago. Sorry. My bad.
No, it's okay. It's like, there we go.
Not fair.
You know, I'm still torn about this, right?
While some are born to feast,
Like,
others spend their lives in
Go ahead. The thing about this one, and if you watch, I mean, this is
begging for scraps.
almost beat for beat. Everything they show here is almost exactly, I mean, with very, very, very minor or some minor at least. But again, this is an early trailer, right? So it could be very, very different in the end. But this is, I mean, that scene's in the movie. I mean, it's very, 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 very similar to the animated movie based on what they've shown here, which is good and bad.
Right, and that's my issue, right? Is I don't get why. I get why, money, but I don't
Right.
get why. What the?
And then-
I don't know.
And you know they didn't show off Rafiki's voice, which is going to be a big thing for me because possibly my favorite character from the movie, and that was Robert Guillaume, who is unfortunately no longer with us.
Right.
I'm glad they got James Earl Jones to do Mufasa, because you really can't have another Mufasa. But I cannot pronounce his name, so I won't try to, but the scar did not do it for me in this trailer. I mean, yeah, I get it, but that is such an iconic, the way he talks and the portrayal, they do kind of show him as a smaller, kind of sickly lion still, so I get that, that's still there, but he doesn't have that aristocratic down my nose, I think I'm better than everyone edge to what he's saying,
But I completely understand what you're saying, but that's one thing that did not, because this sounds edgier to me. I don't know why it sounds more dangerous. Like before, he sounded like a stuffed plum who, he talked a good game, but he wasn't dangerous. This one,
but he was.
He was, but this one strikes me as dangerous from the get-go. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I don't disagree with you. I agree with everything you're saying, but at the same time, it both. That's what I'm saying. The whole thing both intrigues me and makes me upset at the same time because I don't see the need for this. I get that it's a new generation. It's 20 years later. New kids be exposed to it, and they'll grow up with it, and I'm fine with that. But there is an animated movie that still exists and has great voice acting in it. So why are we doing this again? Not just re-releasing the other one? I don't know. It's I'm both ways.
I have a couple hypotheses, but I don't know. I mean, I haven't watched any of the live action redos, to be upfront. I haven't watched a single one of the ones they've put out so far. The Lion King is my favorite, at least of the modern Disney movies. And yes, to me, Lion King still falls in the modern era.
Beauty and the Beast is good.
Beauty and the Beast is good. There have been many good movies come out of the modern era, but Lion King's always kind of been a little special for me. And I don't know. Yes, I almost have to watch this so that I can compare. But at the same time, I don't want to.
Yeah. No, I'm right there with you.
Does it help to have someone to talk to?
This one, doesn't really tell us anything and yet tells us everything at the same time, which makes no sense.
I don't, I don't like this because it really kind of sets up a sympathetic.
Yeah, it's kind of the Bates kind of set up to it. Yeah, I agree with we were talking earlier. The Joker that's the most impactful is the one that you have no idea where this guy came from. You don't know what his goal is other than just chaos, right? It's just that's the the best Joker that I would like to see, but this is a different take as an Elseworlds kind of thing. I'm fine with it. I don't like the blue makeup around the eyes, but again, having him be an actual clown at least explains why it's there.
And why does everyone want to punch him? I mean, seriously, every other scene he's being punched.
Because they want to make sure that that he is not appreciated in life.
Okay.
and I this is just a hang up of mine, but any Joker that requires makeup and hair dye,
I used to think that.
I get it, but at the same time, it's like I prefer my Jokers to be,
It's a comedy.
naturally mutilated, I guess.
Mutated.
Mutated. There you go. That's a better word. I mean, the rocking a lot of the classic costumes. We saw the purple pants and the purple vest. You see the orange rust-colored suit there. So it's rocking a lot of the traditional kind of costumes for it. So that's good. He's obviously got the build for it. I mean, he's lanky, right? So the Joker's generally a fairly lithe figure. But yeah, I'm intrigued by that, but I don't know that I'm interested enough that I'll see it in theaters.
Well, since I have a movie pass situation, I will. This is another one that I don't know how to feel.
I just don't like. No, this one did nothing for me. This one actively discouraged me from watching the movie.
Yeah,
not this part, but I mean just the whole thing,
I mean, I get they're going back to the kind of the roots of the characters, but to make
It's hideous.
It's horrible.
It's home.
Raul Julia will forever be Gomez in my mind.
Yeah.
And this is not his body type. And
No,
Wednesday's
don't know.
elongated head, and
Yeah, the kind of the super deformed things are play off a little weird. I mean, granted, these aren't normal characters, but yeah, I don't know why they went. I mean, Gomez in all of his incarnations previous to this was a handsome gentleman. I think this weird kind of zombie-esque version of him is odd. That scene completely fell flat for me. That was not funny. This is kind of humorous.
Thanks for trying, Ichabod.
But yeah, I don't nothing I saw in that made me think that this was a thing that personally for me I would enjoy. It's I don't want to call it paint by numbers because some of the things I don't necessarily like about it are the weirder parts, but at the same time it didn't do anything. I don't know. What am I trying to say? Do you know where I'm going with this?
Yeah, I get it. It didn't cover any new ground that made you want to,
Yeah. And I mean, I'm sure there's entire generations of people that's targeting that have never seen an Addams Family, either the old or the late 80s, early 90s remake movies or
right. And that's kind of my thing, right? Is I kind of do want to
Brightburn. That is one I am very intrigued by. You've watched the trailer for that, I assume.
Which one?
Brightburn. Up one. You kind of see the bottom of the kid's face there.
No, I've seen this like 19 times and I've never clicked on it.
It's an Elseworld Superman story is really what it is. It's Smallville meets what was that one with the kid that ended up kind of being going in an Akira like direction. The kids find an alien ship underground. And then they start having powers, and the one of them kind of goes insane.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Can't think what that's called. What the name of that was?
Starts with a D.
Yeah, maybe.
Help him up.
What are you doing?
I want him in handcuffs and I want him gone. Do you even know who his real mother is?
I'm his real mother. Let's go.
Maybe there is something wrong with Brandon.
Chronicle.
Oh, C. My bad.
Never turn against her.
It's close to D.
Not my son.
Hey, who's messing with me?
See, Lexi will never watch this. Anything with kids. Like
Children of the
this.
Corn type thing.
Yeah, she won't do that.
Something wrong?
Boy around by chance.
You're one of the only people in the world that knows how special I am.
There are believed to be no survivors among the 268 passengers on board.
Whatever you've done, I know there is good inside you.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll probably do that.
I want to do good, Mom. I do.
Can you play the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood trailer? Have you seen that?
Yeah,
one?
that Hellboy trailer from IGN was or that review
Review.
rather was kind of, I don't know. Did it feel jaded to you?
It felt like the guy had been hurt personally.
Well, and
Like-
the guy who read it was not the writer. He was reading somebody else's review.
Oh,
which,
I didn't watch it. I read it.
Oh, okay.
And what I'm saying is that the reviewer seemed like I don't know, man. That's super rough.
Yeah, I don't know what was going on there. I have a hard time believing it's that bad.
Yeah, that's kind of my point. Like I get
It
giving
might
the
be a
game
6, but I
Right.
don't think it's a 4.
Right. I mean, it'd have to be actively hurting me in some way.
I think it's the top one. Oh, that's the teaser trailer.
Yeah, they're all about the same.
Oh, they're all the same. Okay. I haven't watched this one. All I know is from the poster, I had no idea that was Brad Pitt at first.
So, Rick, explain to the audience exactly what
It's like there, that doesn't look like Brad Pitt. That I don't know. There, that looks like Brad Pitt. But
Cliff here is meant to help carry the load.
Is that how you describe your job, Cliff?
What, carrying his load? Yeah, it's about right.
Tarantino movies, man, they're such a crapshoot for me.
Not me.
See, the thing that I had to learn to accept with Pulp Fiction was form before function, and that's always a hard thing for me to get around, right? Having a thing just to have a thing more than for it to really have a purpose in existing, but just existing to exist.
That was the best acting I've ever seen in my whole life.
Like you. Rick fucking no.
I'll watch it because it's Tarantino, but I don't know. I don't have an opinion yet on that one per se. There was something else that I was actually going to do, and I don't remember what it was now.
Oh yeah, I finally watched John Wick 1 too. I haven't watched
Oh,
2 yet, but I finally
did
watched the
you?
original John Wick.
Yeah, that's good. What did you think?
I enjoyed it. Yeah, it was a very good for what it was. It's your typical light plot action movie, which you don't see that much anymore.
What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull up the news. Twitter.com/Gamersledge if you would like to follow along at home.
You saw Shazam, right?
I did not. I'm actually going
okay.
to see it this week. I do need to step away for just a second, so I'm going to let you talk about the news, and I will be right back. I'm sorry.
Okay, no problem. Oh, whoa, echo. The No Man's Sky is obviously gone through a lot of transformations, and we're looking to go through another transformation this summer with Beyond. Part of which is the online component, part of which is the VR component, from which everything I've heard from people who got to play with it. Was that GDC? No, it wasn't GDC. What was it? Some event recently. I'm not recalling off the top of my head. It's excellent. So they just keep pushing into it, and Next was huge for them. It sold really, really, really well. So if you already had the game, you got Next for free, but the promises of what Next delivered that weren't in the original really let them get some new sales and life into the game. So this is a case where I still own the game. I played it a few times. I'd really like to take the time to go back into it. But as talked about earlier, I'm still working my way through the Kingdom Hearts games. I've only got 2 out of the collection done so far. but yeah, I think it's definitely a time to look at and say, hey, if you're looking for a survival game, this has got a survival game. If you're looking for an adventure game, a little less so, but there's still definitely a game there. And a lot of stuff that just flows better, or just works better. The economies keep changing. The what the resources are, how they're used, keep getting refined and improved. The last time I played, the only real downside I could see to what it was is you could not get away from the sentinels anymore. Like they followed you everywhere if you tick them off. It used to be you could kill them quick enough, the little ones on the planet, and then more wouldn't come. And now they'd follow you into orbit and jump into another system with you. So it got kind of hairy there. But yeah, let's see. I can't control that, so I should bring up the old feed here and see what else we got in there. Doopy 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 doo. Why are you telling me I have no internet connection, you silly thing? Oh yeah, today Sony launched their full version of their PSN name change. So you are now allowed to, for the first one is free, you can change your sign-in name or your PlayStation display name. Every name you use belongs to you, so you can always revert back to a previous name. There are limitations, though. Subsequent changes do cost, depending on whether or not you have Plus. It's $4.99 if you have Plus, or $10 if you do not have. There is a list of games that are impacted if you do this change. So you want to double check that if it's a game that you really, really enjoy playing, or you want to make sure it keeps functioning properly. You want to make sure that you don't that. So yeah, overall though, it's a long-awaited feature. They did a beta with it, and now everything is out, and presumably it's only going to get better. They just there's limitations like the Vita and PS3 it won't show up on, and there are certain games on the PS4 that it has a negative impact on. Some of them are pretty significant. They obviously baked this name into the PSN thing really hard when they launched it back with the PS3, and trying to work around that has just proved to be a real challenge. There's a thing on here about Anthem, but I'll let Mark talk to that when he gets back because burned. Yes, we now know that we'll get a premiere of Respawn Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order game, which I am super excited to find out what it is. I know it's Respawn, so it's probably going to be a shooter of some type, but set in between the prequel trilogy and the original trilogy, after Order 66. Just really excited to see if we can get a good, solid Star Wars video game entry again. I mean, I enjoyed some of Battlefront 2. If you've watched this podcast or listened to it at all before, I don't buy loot boxes and stuff, so that stuff doesn't mean anything to me. I'm also not good at competitive shooters, so that doesn't really factor in for me. But yeah, definitely looking forward to seeing what's up with this Respawn game and when it's going to come out. So that's this weekend as a part of Star Wars Celebration, which will also be getting, most likely, I don't think it's been officially announced, but we'll be getting a trailer and the official name of Episode 9. So also looking forward to that. So a lot of good stuff for Star Wars folks, hopefully coming out this weekend. DC Universe, the streaming service that they put out, along with all of the shows that they've got on there and the movies now, they're getting over 2,700 comics, pretty much everything they've ever had in the digital format. Soft copy format they are now going to have on the service. They had been curating collections of books previously. Now they're going to go ahead and just have their entire soft copy library on that service. So that's definitely an attractor for some people. For me, unfortunately, I'm already overwhelmed, so that doesn't help. I
Sorry
started
about
at the
that,
top
Tyson.
and went down. I skipped the one about Anthem because I wasn't that was a very you post. So if you
It
wanted to talk to
was.
that,
Well, just that someone wrote an article today that I thought touched a real note, and I don't mind grinding in games as long as I'm working towards something. And this article that got posted was a very introspective article about great. They fixed the problems that are there with Anthem. What am I actually grinding for? We don't have a really defined content roadmap. We don't know what's coming other than an ambiguous Act 2 and Act 3. But the game's still inherently broken. So even if they did fix it tomorrow, if they tripled loot rates tomorrow, and I get all the gear that I want, great. What do I do with it? Right? That I'm not doing already.
but that's kind of my question on all of these games. So
No, so they're like with the Division 2, it's that we're grinding out higher tier gear so we can do the final missions. The final mission, once we do that, then we can get specific drops from specific places that allow us to get some new gear sets and prepare. And they've got a content roadmap laid out. The raids are next, right? So we want to get as high as possible so that we can do the raids.
Right.
And then from there, there's going to be more story-based content, and that'll introduce new mechanics and new stuff. So there's something at least to be said about what we're grinding for.
Ultimately, you're always grinding out gear to be expired with the next patch, right? I mean, that's really what you're doing with these games.
Yeah, mostly.
I get it. People enjoy it. I'm not
under any like mystical spell saying, No, that's pretty much, that's about right. And then I complain about it like everybody else when it happens. When the new patch, what the hell did I grind all that gear for? Because day one in the new patch, I'm stronger than I was for the 40 hours I ground all this stuff out. Anyways, in PoE, I have a build that I'm trying to make, and I need to get to max level to achieve it, right? And to allocate all my points on that monster skill tree, sphere grid. So I'm working towards something generally, but in Anthem there's not. There's nothing to work towards right now because we don't know what's coming. So,
right.
I don't know. It's just something that kind of struck a chord with me, and I'm like, that's a really well articulated.
Just talking about this. So, did you have any takes on this? I mean, other than obviously check we double posted because you didn't.
Yeah, sorry. I didn't see you say you put it on.
I don't think I did. But just obviously check the fact to make sure if your favorite game ever is one of the ones that breaks if you do this. So
yeah, and I thought really hard because I'm very happy with my name. It's short. It's Balth. BALTH. That's it. It's short. It's easy. I don't have to. I didn't have to put a 99 after it, which I almost always have to do because it's usually taken somewhere. But now I'm like, should I change the Gamersledge -mark? And then I'm like, oh yeah, it's gonna break games, and I'm like, no. So I'm alright there. It's not gonna be good. I'm just telling you now.
Oh, shut up. And then the DC and the other thing, Borderlands 3. The Borderlands 3 is the next one.
Yeah, I bought the pre-sequel bundle for $15 when it was on sale, and I still won't play half of it because I have no inkling to play the pre-sequel at all. I bought it for Borderlands 2, and I started playing it, and it's a first-person shooter. I know that we have this running joke where I say, I don't like first-person shooters, and then you say, why do you keep buying all of them? And then I say, I don't, but this was one that friends and family wanted me to buy, so I did. And I just, it's like, I don't want to play it. I don't want to play it. I'm sorry.
Did you play either of the new Wolfensteins or Doom?
I have Doom and the new Wolfenstein. Yeah, the new Wolfenstein. The first one.
Yeah.
And I have not logged a single moment of either of them.
If you play one, play Doom.
Yeah, I know.
It is.
I bought it. It's still sealed in my collection, and I just,
It's different enough from your typical first-person shooter. I think you'll get into it.
Okay. I mean, I'll give it a shot. That's why I bought it, because I like the original. I like, I like most of it. I linked on the news. This is kind of getting back there a little bit, but this is the I don't know, 1,800 word expose on what went wrong in Anthem.
Yeah, and this is a project management case study. I mean, literally, if you read this thing, if you've ever done project management before, this is just project management gone wrong 101. And anyone who's been in project management most likely has had an experience like this. But they've also had the experiences of the BioWare magic, where it all just magically comes together at the end and everything's great. But yeah, I do think the gaming media world needs more Jason Schreiers.
Yeah, I agree.
But he could have cut that down by about 600 words.
I'm not of that opinion. I mean, yes, I get it for brevity's sake, but I thought what he had in there really fleshed out all the different things. I don't disagree with you, but at the same time,
it did. I just felt like he repeated himself a little bit.
Yeah, maybe. I'd rather have the long form and say, "Oh, you could shorten that up," than the other way, where it's like there's not enough in there. I think this is still active for people, and this is something that we did not get to talk about that I did want to talk about on the podcast. If you have Amazon Prime, you can get your Nintendo Switch Online for free for 12 months. There is a little catch to it. You only get the first 3 months for free when you sign up to it through Twitch Prime. But after that, then it will be 9 months free.
Via code. They send you a code, right?
Yeah, they send you a code, right. So you get the first 3 months immediately, and then you'll get a code for the remaining 9 months for free.
And just to be clear, it is the single user code for account type. So there's two account types, right? There's the single user account type and there's the family account type. The freebie or the included with Twitch Prime is strictly the single user type.
So I signed up for it. I didn't see anything that said anything like that, which you probably wouldn't. So
yeah, I'm pretty sure I read that somewhere.
Sure. I have no.
Because I was like, well, no, that'd been kind of cool. Oh no, that wouldn't work for me. Never mind.
Oh, yes. So, Divinity: Fallen Heroes is a new tactical RPG spin-off of Divinity: Original Sin 2. I wanted to show the trailer because I could.
And this is not the Divinity studio, right? Somebody else is doing the development on this?
I think it is them.
Burning.
Is it them? Okay.
They're
people decimated.
I think that part of it's being farmed out, but it's pretty much
dancing
them.
on our graves. But this isn't my first waltz with evil. And this time, I'm not dancing alone. We must gather a special covenant.
So, having not played either, are these recognizable characters or are these just archetypes?
Sacrifices must be made.
They're also the archetypes.
Empires will fall, but we will strike
Convenient
back,
how that works out.
using whatever.
Did you take an arrow to the knee?
Necessary. Come command
It's a hell of a hand cannon he's got.
Apocalypse Squad and vanquish Rivellon of a new evil. Aboard the Lady Vengeance.
So, first off, let me say that Divinity Original Sin 2 is probably my favorite CRPG of the last 20 years. And now they're making it into a SRPG. I have no problems here. None. Not a single one. Other than the fact I still haven't finished Divinity Original Sin 2 because I spent like 700 hours doing the first 2 acts. One day.
699.9 of those were just Act 1 over and over and over.
That is not true. I actually made it pretty deep into Act 2. I'm just about to Act 3, I think. So yeah, that's a thing that I'm excited about. Borderlands Game of the Year Edition launched for $30.
You think so?
Last week.
Which I think includes all of the things that ever came out for it.
DLC. Yeah.
Plus some enhancements like a mini map and a few other things.
And I still can't. It was my favorite of the series, but I still can't. No. But let's watch this and discuss this.
Are we going to discuss the event around which it launched and all of that interestingness too, or just the trailer itself?
No, just the trailer.
Okay. I because of Plus, I have 1 and 2 on PS3. I've never played them at all. So
they're good for what they are.
Right. But I did play the heck out of Tales of the Borderlands, and I love that game.
And those characters from that are going to be in 3.
Right.
Reese is going to be in 3, although not.
Yeah, we see Reese in the trailer. Yeah, well, now, did you see the latest on that? Because now Pratcher's saying that they offered it to him and he turned it down. So there's.
Well, whatever. He's still not in the game.
Yeah.
It looks very much along the same.
Yeah, I mean,
not deviating from the course of action.
It's more Borderlands. If you were looking for something that's more Borderlands, then here's some more Borderlands.
Yep.
The thing about the cell shading style, which has always been a thing, is it kind of gives a timeless look to things. It was a cheat in the earlier days to make things look better than they would have if they tried to make them more realistic, I guess. But it kind of gives a evenness to the whole series. I mean, I'm sure if you put screenshots of all 3 of them side by side, you can tell differences. But it definitely adds a consistency and, makes it feel, not samey, but, distinctive, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I remember Borderlands 1 before the cell shading.
Right.
And I think the game would not have been the same without it. It gave it a very distinctive look.
Yeah. And inspired an entire genre of cosplaying.
Yep. Which I love.
Did I miss the sax? Oh, no, okay, there's the sax solo. I don't even know if that's like a reference to something or not, but it's just friggin' awesome.
It's not. And it's like, I mean, I like
other than
the
late
humor.
80s pop music.
Yeah. I like the references and the humor. It's pretty good.
There's Reese.
And we get, the storyteller and
I wonder if that's literal.
Oh, it's literal. It's literal.
I mean, at some point, the differentiation between gun 1,999,999 and 1 billion has to be like so insignificant.
It's not, because the way they do it is they break it into brands, and each brand has a theme, if you will. And so that's one segmentation, right? But then you have different types of guns within that brand. So you might have a rocket launcher, and you might also have a sniper rifle. And those can have different effects. So maybe your rocket launcher does explosions, but then your sniper rifle does caustic damage. And then but then you still have the theme of the brand. So maybe one brand, as an example, has another barrel on the bottom of it. So you've got the main barrel of the weapon that does one thing, and a secondary barrel that gives you a different element ability that shoots at the same time as your primary. And that's just one brand, and there are 12 brands. So it's like there is a lot of variation in what you have, and then you kind of figure out as you go what play style you like. And that's one of the things I do like about it in terms of a looter shooter. You are always picking something up in that game. Always. And then they've done a good job as time progressed of being able to quickly and easily give you the information you need to know of, is this better than what I am currently wielding? Yes or no. And then move on from there. But playing through Borderlands 2 now is a little painful because they don't have all the lessons that have been learned over the last 10 years since that game came out. And that is a little rough. And same with playing Path of Exiles. It's a little rough. And that's why I can't believe Anthem. You can't see what something is until you go back to the hub. That's super rough. But yeah. And I do need to talk about, while we're here, youtube.com. We need to talk about Baba. Stop. No. Darn YouTube. Baba. No. Baba. Baba is you. Is you. I'm trying to find the actual trailer. So this is a new game that came out on, here we go, on PC. I believe it's also coming to Switch, or it's already out on Switch, 13th of March. This is one of those ones that my wife would never even look at because the graphics are not AAA, let's put it that way. But it is redefining how puzzle games work, and I think it's fascinating. So check this out.
Dave's playing this, isn't he?
No, not that I'm aware of.
I thought I remember him talking about this.
So the whole thing is, you just got to move your guy to a flag, and by changing these operators, it redefines how the game works. So flag is you.
So now you're moving the flag.
Now you move the flag. And as you play, as you can see, it gets really kind of in-depth.
So it's kind of dynamic programming gaming.
Yeah, dynamic programming puzzle gaming. It's super... What's up, Craving Chains? You love Risk of Rain 2.
Are vegans healthy?
I have not
That was
played...
it was when the Borderlands trailer stopped. That was the splash screen image.
Early access launch trailer. Here we go. I think I might have actually.
I look for
Yeah,
a tone.
Did you see Descent is coming back?
Did I see what?
Descent is coming back.
Yes. I'm not sure how to do that. I thought I had seen this. Now I'm not sure. Looks like No Man's Sky.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So, roguelike No Man's Sky?
Yeah, can you play it with friends? Yep, well, sure looks like it. Now, did you talk about my that first thing I had in the news feed about No Man's Sky?
Oh, briefly, I just talked about, generically that it's the game that just keeps getting better and how they keep working on it, and with what's coming up with Beyond. I hadn't actually read the article you linked yet, so I don't know if it hit any specific point that I didn't. But it's just that if you tried it when it first came out and you thought it was lacking, you might want to take a look at it coming this summer, because it might have all the things you thought it should have had the get-go, and maybe you can appreciate that, and maybe you'll just still be annoyed that it didn't have it at the get-go, or whatever. I appreciate the fact that I never got rid of that game, and I don't have to do anything else. I just get everything that they're doing and all the improvements and all the work. I mean, that's kind of amazing that at this point, we're in our third major update for the game, and if you own it once, you keep getting the future updates, because each time they do an update, they sell a bunch more copies.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's one of the things that the article mentioned, is that every time they've done a release, they are selling more commercially than
I just created a Wix website for my
than they were the last time.
I'll show you how I did.
And they were also saying that that they are now selling comfortably in the range of AAA numbers that any AAA developer would be happy with, which is kind of staggering when you think about the returns scandal. How many people did the returns and everything.
Yeah,
it's kind of crazy. On the other hand, I'm glad. I mean, they've obviously learned lessons, and they've done right by the community that stuck with them. I did not stick with them. I turned my game in to something else, and the reason I posted that article is because I think I was probably wrong to have done that. I think you're in a much better position because you did buy it and hold on to it. I mean, I'd be interested to see if there's a sale on it anytime soon, but I liked the core concept. But again, part of the issue was I wanted to play with you, and I couldn't, and I wanted to play with all of my friends, Dave and everybody, and we were never going to meet him. And now multiplayer is supposedly a thing, and it's got VR. So now I'm like, if I do rebuy it, do I rebuy it on Steam? Is there cross-platform play for the VR? Because I could play that in the Vive, and you could be in your PSVR, and how cool would that be? But I don't know if that's a thing.
Everyone I've heard on stuff or read that's tried the VR at whatever, I can't remember what event they had it at, but they're saying it's really good.
Yeah.
Like all the quality of life stuff that you'd expect from a major VR release, all of the things that are there. So
I'm trying to think if there was any other real trailers. They had that World War Z gameplay trailer. I don't know that I really want to.
yeah, I mean, the only other one I know, and I think we watched it last time, is the Mortal Kombat from the PlayStation.
Actually, No, there have been a couple new ones since then.
There, okay.
Yeah. So they have Cetrion, which is one of the Elder Gods.
No. She's above an Elder God.
No, she's an Elder God.
Oh, the Ed Boon, Game Informer.
Yeah, no, I watched
She is
it.
above, she is above an Elder God.
Yeah. Game of Thrones does premiere on Sunday. I'm super excited. Last 6 episodes.
I'm gonna actually try to keep up.
Fight.
I think my main thought on her is that she looks a lot more like an Injustice character than she does an actual Mortal Kombat character. Which I don't have a problem with because Injustice was good, but just the play style and kind of her power sets.
Yeah, leads more to that kind of world.
Yeah. And I have one critique of her fatality, which I kind of like actually. A lot of people said they didn't like it. It felt like a lot of disparate ideas being put together, but I don't mind it except for one thing.
Kamehameha.
Yeah, poor tree. See, I like that, except that beam would be the size of New Jersey, not a small, like.
It has a very fine focal point, so it starts big
Yeah,
and then
yeah. That's not how light and energy works. But sure, not unless there's a giant magnifying glass she took with her up into the sky. So yeah,
she actually makes a lens out of saliva in her mouth and down into.
I see. Mortal Kombat 11 Collector. Collector was the reveal trailer. There we go. Collector was the other one that we got.
Yeah, I appreciate the following that this has, and I appreciate that they've been able to keep this game series going on as long as it has. It's ridiculous. I mean, that it's popular, and that it really fell kind of out of favor for a long time, but managed to survive through. But I just cannot play these games. It's just something about the timing of it that just does not work in my brain.
I don't have that problem here, but I have never been able to play Killer Instinct, and that is a game where you just do 20 strings of buttons and you're good. I can't do that. I can do 10 string combos in Tekken, but I can't do whatever it is you're supposed to do in Killer Instinct. I never have been able to. But this is pretty straightforward. I'm mostly excited to see the how do I explain this? In Injustice, you had the ability to create AI profiles that fought on your behalf, and it earned you experience, it earned you items, etc. And I want to see that process here. We already know it's in from the beta, which we streamed here on the channel. So I'm interested to see how that stuff works. This collector character does less than 0 for me. I'm not. I mean, the forearm thing, yeah, cool. But yeah, and that's not the fatality. This is the fatality.
Okay. That was, I don't know. That didn't do anything for me.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Doesn't do
I mean,
much.
it does look like the newer characters are focusing more on kind of mid and distance, which
Yeah,
is something that is kind of lacking, I guess. But
they also announced Kitana today, but no actual gameplay. I love the internet sometimes. Let me scroll down to the first comment, see if you can see it. Damn, smoking is really taking a toll on Goro, because Goro has forearms.
forearms,
also.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
I think that would be more of a meth problem there if that was Goro, I think.
or a heroin problem,
Yeah.
perhaps. You know, he did the Silent Bob keto diet. Yeah, I think that's about it. Anything else news-wise that I skipped?
No, I don't think so. Nothing I've seen. I mean, I'm sure there's
News has
something.
been pretty doggone slow, to be honest.
Yeah, we're actually in kind of a lull. I mean, I don't think gaming doesn't have lulls in the sense that it used to,
Yeah, it's not anything like it used to. It used to be dead.
but
just straight
there
up
are
dead.
still slower points. You know, as I suppose as we build up to E3, you know, it'll pick up from this point forward. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's been not non-existent, but kind of slow.
And I mean, even GDC did not have that much stuff beyond the Google thing.
Yeah.
So that's weird.
Yeah, we got announcement that there's going to be a Hawkeye series on the D plus thing, which we still don't know what that is.
Is that what we're calling it now? The D plus.
D plus. I just didn't want to say the whole thing.
I'm looking forward to all the A plus series from D plus.
On D plus, yeah. I'm sure they would not like me calling it D plus, so Disney plus, yes.
Well,
but the
next week on Falcon and the Winter Soldier, those two crazy cats are up to it again.
I don't know. It is very odd. Just all the different things that have been announced. I want to wait to see if half of them even actually happen, because it's kind of insane. It's like they're throwing everything at the wall and just seeing what sticks.
I mean, so I'm gonna play this SNL thing, because this is exactly what. Did you get a chance to watch it? I'm guessing you did.
The Game of Thrones thing.
Yes.
Yeah. You know me.
No, you didn't?
I watched it.
Oh, but you didn't like any of it? Oh, okay. Because, I mean, I think that like, it... Oh, all right, then I'm not going to watch it if you're going to be that way about it. No,
it was fine. It just, I don't, you know, I'm very weird with comedy stuff, you know. I'm very seldom do I find things entertaining when they're built specifically for comedy and purpose.
I really liked it. I know you're...
The first thing was humorous. The Jon Snow thing was mildly humorous. Everything after that was, oh, okay, I see what you're playing on there. Okay, fine.
All right then.
But you can play it. That's fine. I don't.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I just thought it actually reminds me of what we're talking about. That's why.
Right. Yeah. With the everything multi-platform.
Yeah, like Vision and the Scarlet Witch is going to be a drama, and then freaking Falcon and Winter Soldier is going to be a buddy cop, you know, series, and then I don't remember what the other ones were, but still, it's like. I'm interested to see what they do. I'll be more interested when they actually announce a, what am I trying to say? A price point for D+.
Yeah.
Because I am still worried about that.
Yeah, I'm really curious what it's going to look like. I'm really still curious what the Stadia model is. I want to know. You know, it's like I don't know that I'll ever do it, but I just really want to know what it is, what they're thinking on that.
What do you mean?
I mean,
Stadium model?
The Stadia Google Stadias.
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
What they're going to do, is it going to be a streaming service monthly fee? Is it going to be buy the things? Is it going to be somewhere in between? Are you just going to...
So here's my take on this. I'm not going to get excited about it now. You know why? It could be vaporware, for all we know.
Well, it's not vaporware because I played it.
Yeah, but I mean the actual rollout of the box or the service or whatever.
Right.
I mean, they still haven't even gotten Google Fiber to have the places they said they were going to get it to. So I'm not. I'm more of a hold my breath and see.
Yeah, I'm just curious. I just want to see how they what model they think will work for this.
Yeah, I'm interested in seeing that as well, because I have no idea what it's going to be.
Yeah, just scrolling through stuff quick here. I'm not seeing anything new popped up since we've been talking.
Yeah, I don't see anything. I'm really happy that Epic Rap Battles of History are going to be back.
Oh, it's coming back?
Oh, yes. Did you not see their last one? The one they did to... Hold on. Because it's worth watching even if we get a takedown notice.
Did we know that there was a Ni no Kuni movie coming out?
No.
Apparently there's a Ni no Kuni movie coming out.
Did you watch the Elon Musk versus Mark Zuckerberg one?
No.
Okay. Obviously, language is going to be slung. So if you're sensitive about that or have small children, just skip ahead for 3 minutes.
Yep.
Call me Musk. I'm here to help. Yeah. Flush a sucker turd
Well,
for
you
humanity.
realize I can't
I'm
hear
making
it.
brilliant
Oh, you
innovations
can't
in
hear
a
it,
race
that's right.
against the dark ages.
Well, then I'm not
Provide a
gonna play
place
it.
to discover your earth.
Yeah.
I can read it, but
You
that
need to
loses
watch
something.
it. You need to watch
Okay.
it. It does.
I will watch that.
Since you can't hear it. I keep forgetting you can't, so that's... I seriously don't know what we're going to do for E3 yet. Hooray! But yes, Season 6 is coming up soon for Epic Rap Battle. They are finally back, so I'm very happy about that. That's going to bring us to the part of the show where we like to thank our folks who support us. You can do so, if you'd like to support us, you can do so by either clicking on the subscribe button here on Twitch or by heading over to our Patreon page, patreon.com/Gamersledge, where for as little as $1 a month, you can get your name on every show that we do, just like the folks who have the scroll at the end of the series. But we like to thank everybody by name, and so I'm going to lean forward to read my list here. So I'll be off camera for a hot second, but thank you to Justin ×3, you're a monster. Regina ×2, thank you very much. Naomi, John, June, Eric, Lexi, Patrick, Dave, Kevin, John, Nashok, William, Peter, John, Vekarad, Colleen, Tracy, Michael, Dave, Nick, and Arturo. Thank you so much for supporting the show. And that's going to bring us then to final thoughts. Matt.
Yeah, I was trying to think of something while you were rattling that all off. I don't know. Don't have a final thought. Avengers coming up soon.
Did you get your tickets?
Yes, I did. Fortunate that the one of the pluses of living out in the middle of nowhere is you have a small regional chain as your major movie theater, and their website doesn't crash when a giant movie comes out.
Dude, so last year when we went to Infinity War, had a friend from The Office that went with me, and he loved it, and I turned to him because he had been out the day that the tickets were released. And I don't think we talked about this on the show, but the internet broke in half. It's got 3 times the pre-orders of the original one, and all sites were down. Like, AMC's entire site and app library was down. Fandango had an hour or more wait of you waiting on their site in line, which was hilarious because we're all standing in line again for movie tickets, even though we're on our computers. Go figure. And so I was like, screw this. You know, I have stubs, which is I can pre-reserve 3 movies a week. And I wasn't sure how that was going to work with the, you know, pre-ordering a month in advance or whatever, but I figured they'd let me do it. But anyways, that didn't work. The website didn't work. Fandango wasn't working. So I walked to the theater, and apparently everyone and their brother had the same idea. The kiosks were 10 people deep, and they have 6 kiosks. So there were 60 people in line purchasing tickets at all points in time. Luckily, one of the nice things about being a Stubbs member is that you have a fast pass line, like for customer service. And so it took me like 5 minutes, and I was up at the counter. And I haven't had one of these for a long time, and I got to make sure that I have both of them. I do. But I have paper tickets for my electronic service, which is hilarious, that are staying close to my heart. I got the last 2 seats in the premiere slot, the premiere time slot, in IMAX. So that's good. And I'm super excited. That'll be 6 p.m. my time, which would be 8 p.m. your time, on opening day.
Thursday night, yeah.
Yep, Thursday night. I cannot wait.
We're going Sunday because that's when Mitchell could get off.
And today, so I asked this coworker yesterday. I said, "Hey, did you get tickets?" He's like, "No, they won't be sold out for the whole weekend." I'm like, you might want to check on that. And he turned to me this morning. And he was like, "I think I've missed my window." I said, "I think you did."
Yeah, I mean the theaters were. Other thing about living in the middle of nowhere, not many people historically have taken advantage of the pre-sales like any amount of time in advance. This was still going on there pretty quick. I mean, it wasn't to the point where the site was crashing or anything, but none of the opening weekend shows that I could go to was the row that I always get my seats in open. Yeah, so other people had figured out that's the prime positioning for the theaters. So yeah.
They've sold 2x advance tickets as Aquaman. Well, let's see. This is 2x as many tickets as Aquaman, The Last Jedi, Infinity War, and Captain Marvel combined.
Yeah.
That's
insane.
Fandango is 5x Infinity War, is what they said. That's just ridiculous.
Do you think? I mean, I know you're not a Star Wars fan, but do you think Episode 9 can even come close?
No. I mean, I would love to say yes, but I still think honestly that there is Star Wars burnout right now. And I know you don't. I know you don't possess such a thing in your body, but I think for a lot of my friends that are more casual fans, I think this has been too much Star Wars for them in the last several years, and they haven't been super impressed with what they got. So I don't know. Maybe. I hope so. I want everybody's ecosystem to be happy and healthy. Whether I like it or not, doesn't matter. More competition is good for everybody, right?
Yeah.
So
yep.
I would like to say hopefully, but I don't think so, because this is like they've done this. If episode I know I say this a lot. If episode 1, 2, and 3 had been Avengers 1, 2, and 3, maybe. Maybe when you came back to episode 7, it would have been like that. But I don't think. I think you had a generation of people who grew up on episode 1, 2, and 3 and were not that ingrained into the mythos and the universe like the people who were for episode 6, 7, and 8. Or wait,
4, 5, 6.
Right? 4, 5, 6. Thank you. 4, 5, 6.
No,
so yeah, so I'm. Whereas this has been 10 solid years of. This is that long-term booking versus short-term booking conversation we were having in wrestling, right? I feel like Star Wars has been the short-term games and not the long-term picture of late in their direction, whereas Marvel has been long-term booking but short-term solid storytelling to lead up to that long-term game. So I don't know, maybe, but I don't think I'm afraid actually about that, because I'm glad you brought that up, because that's something that I've been thinking about. I don't want Star Wars to go anywhere. I don't want Star Wars to be lessened, and I don't think it will, even if the box office numbers are not the same as Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
But I am like secretly inside doing a little happy dance that Marvel's kind of kicking Star Wars.
I mean, yeah, I'm not complaining about it at all. I think, what Marvel's done is definitely unprecedented, and it's only something that, if Star Wars had started at the same time, could it have captured the same kind of thing? I don't know. I mean, the 4, 5, and 6 are really a product of their time, even with their attempt to be timeless, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, we don't have the MCU without episode 4, 5, and 6 of Star Wars. Mm-hmm. Right. The one directly is a descendant of the other. But, at some point the student does surpass the master, I guess, So, but I mean, I enjoyed episode 7 and 8. Will I ever get another Star Wars movie that gets to Empire Strikes Back level for me? Probably not. But, again, I'm 42, not 14.
I enjoyed 8 more than 7.
Yeah, I still really like 8. I think I feel sometimes like I'm the only one. It seems like everyone else who
I liked 8.
Yeah, you are. That's a fair concession, but it just seems like, a lot of people were kind of up. Well, there was a lot. Yeah, 8 was just confusing. I don't know how many people actually hated it and how many people hated the idea of it versus the movie itself, and how many people just hated because they heard it was cool to hate Star Wars now. And I don't know. But I watched episode 8 again just to make sure I wasn't crazy. I'm like, nope, I really like this thing.
Yeah, and I'll go watch. I don't know that I will do it launch week, but I will go watch episode 9. We've got people in the chat already saying I love Star Wars. 8 was trash. Yeah, I mean, I'll go watch 9 when it comes out.
The episode 9 Star Wars is one thing I wish we lived close enough that we could go together to, because the capping on the Skywalker saga is just something that, afterwards, I think it would be an interesting conversation,
Well,
and
we can still have it.
We can still have it, but it's different. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
You don't have that car ride back, I mean, I have that with my kids, and I have that with my wife and stuff, but there's difference there.
Yeah. And I feel lucky enough that I have someone here who is a huge Star Wars fan, and I go with him because he likes to analyze stuff after watching it the same way that we like to. But yes, I would like that very much, of course, as well. And that's why I was super glad when Daniel came in for Infinity War, but I don't think he's going to come in for this one. He can't afford another car towing bill in San Francisco. Not
Probably cheaper to get an Uber.
Not from where he lives, but yeah, pretty much. All right, so what's your final thought, Matt?
That was it. That was pretty succinct, don't you think?
My final thought is crap. I had one picked out, and then you derailed me with all this.
Yes.
Play Path of Exile on PC or PS4 or Xbox One. It's free. Doesn't
We all
cost
pitched in
anything.
the cartoon.
Oh man, that was a crazy thing. Check out Path of Exile. It is free and out on all different devices, and also check out Baba Is You if you like puzzle games and like to have your mind bent in weird ways. Last final thought: we found out that Neo from the Matrix was also almost in Injustice 2. In an excellent GameStop Vanity Fair interview. Vanity Fair
Game
style.
Informer, you mean.
Game
Yeah.
Informer Vanity Fair style.
They're
interview.
rapid fire.
Yes.
Rapid fire interviews are gold, especially when Ben does them. I don't think I could stand being in a room with Ben Hansen for 5 seconds, but he is great at those rapid fire interviews.
It was very good. And I liked his Boone's candor. He's like, would you like to make anything other than Mortal Kombat? Yes! Yes! Immediately! I'm like, all right. I think we're
that was a little surprising, but then it's like, yeah, you've been doing this since '92. Yeah, okay, I could see you want a break.
Yep. It's crazy. We'll end the show as we do with a genuine and sage piece of wisdom to carry you through to your next week. Matt, what kind of car does an egg drive?
A carton.
A Volkswagen. Until next week, game on.
Game on.